All right, we got a new project in the garage today. It's my sister's Snapper Zturn. 50-inch deck on this. Doesn't seem to be a bad mower, really. She got it last year, used off a guy. Let's see. It's got 766 hours on it, so doesn't seem to be too bad. It's in pretty good condition. The only thing she's done is put a new battery in it, and one of the tires was leaking down. Just put some stop leak in it. It seemed to fix that problem. However, now it's got an issue. They went and tried to start it this year, and all you get is this when you turn the key. So I haven't spent any time working on this before. I can see the relay or solenoid down here for the starter. We get a nice positive ka-chunk out of it, but the motor won't even turn over. So I'm going to try to do a few tests and figure out where in the starting system we're having issues. Brand new battery. I just checked it, 12.6 volts. It seems to be all right. So it's somewhere between there, the starter solenoid, and the starter itself. We'll see what we can come up with. Okay, I want to do a current measurement here on the battery cables to see if we're getting any current flow to the starter when I turn the switch on or not. So I've got this amp clamp here going to my multimeter, and we'll see what we come up with. So I've got on the 200 amp setting, which equals 10 millivolts per amp. I've got my multimeter on the millivolt scale. All right, here we go. Zero it out. So 35 millivolts, we're getting about 3.5 amps going from the positive terminal of the battery towards the starter. And now I'm going to go on the cable that attaches from the other side of the starter solenoid and runs to the battery. Do the same test. Okay. Nothing. So we've got no current flowing from the other side of the starter solenoid to the starter. Well, we'll try jumping directly from the positive terminal of the battery to the positive side of the starter and see if we can get it to turn over all right like that. All right, I'm also going to hook the amp clamp up to the jumper cables just to see how many amps are getting pulled from the battery directly to the starter. I'm going to have it on the 2000 amp scale, which is 1 millivolt per amp. So I'll set it to 2 volts here on the multimeter. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah, it's way too slow. All right, I just checked, and it looks like we were pulling over 220 amps there at one point directly to the starter. So that should be enough amperage to turn this engine over, no problem. And this is a brand new battery, 03 of 21 March, and it's a, I think it was a 230 cold cranking amp battery. So the battery's providing good amperage. It almost seems like we have two issues. One issue with the starter, possibly the only things I could think that would be causing it to draw large amounts of current but turn over that slow would be maybe an internal short that's not allowing it to produce the right electromagnetism to get it rotating fast enough, or maybe a bearing that's seized up. So I think I'm going to have to take the starter off and then also see what's going on with this starter solenoid, because even if the starter's in bad shape, we should be getting current flow from the battery through the starter and back. So we'll dig in and find out. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure out how to remove this starter. I've never spent any time working on one of these before. Not exactly sure how it's attached. Well, I really hate to do this, but it's the only thing I've got available. So I've got one of these Torx keys in here. Man. I'm gonna break something. Whew. Probably gonna break something. Dang. All right, I'm gonna try the other one just for the heck of it. Oh, that one came. Or did I shear it off? Nope, looks like I got it. Now if I can just get back on it. There's two T40s way back up in here. There we go, she's moving. All right. There it is right there. Well, turns out it's actually six-sided, got a hex head on it, so could have been doing that this whole time. I do like how they have that backup option. You know, if you can't get it or you round out the head, you always have the ability to use that Torx. Oh, socket's bound up. There. All right, that was pretty painless. 13 mil T40 Torx. Now, got to unhook the positive cable on the starter. I think it'll come out. Okay, there's the starter. There's the Bendix. Got some worn teeth on there, a few of them's chipped. You can see there, that one's chipped off. That one's chipped. That's the way with these Bendix drives though. They're not gonna have perfect mesh right off the bat. They gotta kind of find their way in, and occasionally you chip a tooth when it gets jammed in. But it'll probably be all right. All right, I want to do a little bench test on this starter just for the heck of it. I mean, we already know that it turns over, but I just kind of like doing these. See what we get. You can see the Bendix, you know, the inertia, this thing starts spinning, slides this spring out, the pinion comes out. But that's under a no load condition. When we put it under the load, when it's attached to the motor, it's drawing too much current and not spinning fast enough. So I have to think what might be the cause, if that's actually an issue with the starter or something else. I guess we can tear into it. See what it looks like on the inside. Look for any signs of shorted wires on the armature windings. There's a lot of carbon coming off that. Same with this through bolt. A lot of black powder and debris coming off. Wow. Oh, we can see the brushes here, 4 of them. It's a, should be, I believe, a 4-pole starter motor. Also, we've got issues with the permanent magnets. Yeah, this is probably the issue. We've got breakage on these permanent magnets and delamination. It came unglued from the stator housing. Right, there we go. Magnet is stuck. Commutator looks all right. Unfortunately, I don't have a megger at the moment. It would be interesting to test the insulation to see, but it looks to me like it about has to be these permanent magnets. So yeah, it looks like this is a 4-pole starter. You've got your commutators, your 4 brushes, corresponding north and south, and then you have what should have been 2 pole shoes. You've got one here and one here. One of these would have been north, the other would have been south. Your armature generates the electromagnetic field that creates the torque and gets the starter motor turning. So anyway, you split one of these in half and delaminate it, and that's going to cause you problems. And that's probably the issue with the starter solenoid, is I'd say when this broke, you know, we tested it and saw that it was drawing 230 amps, about the max that battery could put out. They probably burn up the contacts inside of that starter solenoid when they were trying to get it to start drawing all that power. I'd say it cooked that. So I'm going to order a starter for this, starter solenoid, pop them in. I'd say we should be good. So we'll see how it turns out. So after looking at this a little closer, you can see this lug here for the positive cable of the battery goes to this brush and the one directly across from it. And then, of course, these two are opposite. So since this is actually a 4-pole starter motor, these 2 permanent magnets, I originally thought one would be a north pole and the other would be a south, but I think it's actually, there would have to be 4 poles to correspond to the 4-pole setup with the armature. And you can see here that this bolt is attached to one side of this pole. It actually comes off in the middle because of the polarity changes, and then it's attracted to the other side. And if you had an exact match with this opposite pole shoe, that would give you one north and south pole, which correspond to what we have here with the brushes on the armature. All right, I'm back now. It's a few days later. I've got a new starter. Came in the mail. We're going to reinstall it. And I also got a new starter solenoid. We're going to change that out and see if we've fixed the issue. Should be the case. Okay, there we go. The starter's reinstalled, mostly. Not real easy to get in here to these fasteners. Okay, there's the old starter solenoid. And here's the new one. Okay. Okay, I think she's all hooked back up. All right, I think everything's hooked back up. Time to do a little test run. All right, there it is. Alternator's working, starter's working. It's cranking a little slow, but could be the battery needing some charge. I think that's going to work out all right. Seems a little cold there, needed some choke, but I think that's going to do it. I'm going to change the blades out on this mower and ship it back to my sister, and she should be ready to go. Broken pole shoe on the starter ended up leading to the starter solenoid burning out, pulling all that, 230 amps. Both of those replaced, actually pretty cheap. I bought the replacement solenoid for 15 bucks and the starter was only $40 or $50. Not too bad there. I think they should be in good shape now, so I've got more mower videos lined up. I'm gonna do some work on that John Deere 330. I've actually got this LA 145 in here in the garage. I rebuilt the carburetor on it and have been working on the governor. It's pretty much running wide open, so I've got to do some more work there. And I'm going to do a little more work to that 455, and then there's the tractors and plenty of other projects. So thanks for watching and stay tuned.